What if there was fundamental truths about our reality that were so powerful that the CIA and other government organizations have studied it just to understand how our reality actually works? What if the CIA documents and research that they've done on these specific meditations that I have right here in my hands, the research finding of what they learned about how reality may very well be a hologram, what if that information would actually change our lives from the inside out? Because we would then see what reality really is. Well, back in 2017, my life completely changed when I started listening to these meditations, which I've shared in a prior video, but just to give a quick update on it, these meditations were that of from the 70s and the 80s. They're meditation CDs that show how to expand your consciousness. They're guided meditations that use that of a technology called hemisync. And what it does is it gets the brain into certain brainwave activities where then you can explore different aspects of your consciousness. Things like lucid dreaming, astral projection, remote viewing. These are all things that the CIA looked at, researched, and made a whole document on, showing their findings. And one of the interesting things it said about it was that we live in a holographic reality, and if we want to influence our reality, there's certain ways we can do that will powerfully affect the outcomes we get into our life. Now, this is what I want to talk about more in this video, is I want to go deeper on this idea of understanding what are called thought forms, and that of how reality may be a hologram. We may be in a virtual reality that appears to be real, but we are in fact eternal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. But because we've forgotten this, we've continued to live in this veil of forgetfulness. Now, first off, let me say as well that my grandpa, who is the one who told me to get those meditation CDs back in 2017 when my YouTube channel began to grow, my grandpa told me, if you get this collection of CDs from the 80s and you listen to it, it will transform your consciousness. So I bought them, and this is right when I started on YouTube, and I think I maybe had 100,000 subs, and I had money at like $400 to go buy these CDs, so I did. Those are the same CDs that I just held in front of you, and I started doing these meditations. And one interesting thing I will say is another book that he gave me is he told me to get this book that was called Man, Visible, Invisible. And it's a book by some guy named C.W. Leadbeater. It's an esoteric book that's all about auras. Now, my grandpa, just to kind of give you a little bit more background on this, my grandpa is someone that was a very eclectic thinker. He would go to church with my grandma because my grandma was religious. He would go to church with her just because he would enjoy seeing the aura of the crowds change. He said that he would watch the pastor, and as the pastor would be talking about whatever he was talking about, giving his sermon, the auras in the crowd would change, and he would love to watch it like a light show. And he said that our auras were not so much just one color. You know how people will go to like an aura thing and people will get their aura read and they'll say, oh, you have a yellow or a blue or a green aura. And what would happen is then you'd be like, oh, that's my aura. He says the way it actually works is there's this egg structure around your body, and it has many different colors inside of it. And based on the emotions you feel, determine what parts of the egg have different colors within it. So it could be that you might be angry and you might have a lot of red right here in your aura, but here your aura might be green or red or blue or purple or whatever. But it changes based on your emotions. So when he'd go to watch that at church, he'd see all these different colors in the crowd change as the pastor was giving his sermon. Now, in this book that my grandpa gave me, that's called Man, Visible, Invisible, it shows the different structures of auras and how to read auras, which I found very interesting. But this idea of this energetic structure around our body then brought me even further down a rabbit hole. So another book that guy wrote, C.W. Leadbeater, was called Thought Forms. Now, this book called Thought Forms completely changed my perception of what reality is and also what thoughts really are. Now, this also helped me understand the idea of my own energy field and why I get activated or triggered in certain ways. Why when I'm around certain people, I feel an elevation of energy or it's more resonant. But when I'm around other people, I feel drained, even if we don't even talk. And this book, Thought Forms, explained all of that in a way that completely changed the way that I see reality and the world. Okay, I shared this on Instagram recently and people begged me to make a video on this. So here we go. This is what I made me talk about. So first off, let me read you a little bit from this book called Thought Forms. So it says, thought forms directed towards individuals produce definitely marked effects. These effects being either partially reproduced in the aura of the recipient and so increasing the total result or repelled from it. A thought of love and of desire to protect, directed strongly towards some beloved object, creates a form which goes to the person thought of and remains in his aura as a shielding and protecting agent. It will seek all opportunities to serve and all opportunities to defend, not by a conscious and deliberate action, but by a blind following out of the impulse impressed upon it. And it will strengthen friendly forces that impinge on the aura and weaken unfriendly ones. So here is the lesson from this. Let me kind of summarize my perception of this whole reading. Now think of it. Thought forms are not actually just within the brain. What the results show when it comes to this holographic nature of reality is that we are all interconnected with everyone else in our life. And that what we think of as our brain is in a way this symbol that we use for understanding matter, but in actuality, our thoughts that we think have some form of energetic form. We may not visibly be able to see it, just like that book called Man Visible Invisible. We may not visibly be able to see our thoughts, but they have an energetic structure and an energetic form that goes even beyond our brain, where our mind or our brain is. Now you could say that our mind actually exists beyond just our brain in the physical location, but actually exists far beyond our body, which, by the way, they've proven that there is an electromagnetic energy that emanates out of your heart field and emanates around your body. That's something that's already proven. Now, here's the interesting thing about thoughts. Within our body, also around our body, we have the accumulated thoughts that we think. And what happens is when we consistently think certain thoughts and feel certain emotions, it builds up our field in a certain way to where they then stay within the energetic structure of our body. That's when it's easier to create momentum. Think about like Abraham Hicks, who teaches Think a Better Thought. I know I make fun of that concept sometimes because think a better thought, think a better thought. To me, sometimes it feels surface level if you're not looking at the identity side of things and healing. I think feeling it to heal it is also very powerful. But think about it, even with the Abraham Hicks idea, when you are thinking better thoughts, you are building and focusing on what you're thinking about, you are building more and more momentum within your field of more positive thoughts, with thoughts of a higher quality, which then makes it easier and easier for you to tap into them over and over again because there's more of them within your field. Now what happens is when people feel negative thoughts, let's use this little red example right here. Let's say somebody's feeling negative thoughts. And let's say they go around somebody else that also is thinking negative thoughts. What happens, and Eckhart Tolle, by the way, calls this a pain body, activating the pain body. Now, what happens is when you're around other people that also trigger within you those thoughts, you may have the illusion that that person is causing you to feel this way because they have it within their field. When in fact, they are bringing the awareness to you that that also exists within your field. They are just activating it because you have stuff in your field that is in resonance with it. Now what happens is when you think of someone else, you are energetically sending them energy. Now this is why, by the way, it is very important to learn the power of forgiveness and understanding that if you don't forgive someone else, you keep that energy within your own field. that was like me back in 2012, when I went through my awakening, realizing that even though at 15 years old, I never had to see my ex-stepmom again, who was physically, mentally, and like abusive and controlling, even though I never had to see her again in my life, I kept attracting people into my life that reflected back that same energy dynamic. Because within my field, I had a belief that I have to fight for my freedom. I had a belief that said women try to control me. So I'd attract a manager that was trying to control me, an ex-girlfriend that was trying to control me, and I'd have to fight for my freedom. Because it was in my field, and then I would find myself attracted to other people that would reflect that back to me. So the thing about this is when you direct negative energy at anyone, you may believe it's going towards them, but it has to go through your field, and it leaves a residue of that negative energy in your field. So resentment towards someone in your life is staying within your energy field because you have an energetic structure around your body with the accumulated thoughts of what you consistently think and feel. So the power of this is when you start becoming aware of the thoughts that you think. When you start becoming aware of what energy you're trying to direct at someone else. Because remember, all the outer reality is a mere reflection of the energy that's within your thought forms. Your thought forms are literally like thoughts we think are in our mind. There's actually an energetic structure to this. This is something that fascinates me because I love studying something called collective consciousness, like meditations where we connect to the collective consciousness. Because I believe by channeling higher vibrational energy into our bodies, it affects our reality. Now, one thing I also believe, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much, but I believe there are people that on the planet understand that the accumulated thoughts of the people affects reality. So if you can control the narrative, if you can control people's minds, and therefore you control their thought forms, therefore they may be less empowered and more likely to do the 9-to-5 job they hate. More likely to spend money to agree to this 40-hour a week work week thing for a job they hate or whatever it is. Keep people in that limited state. Now, the important part of understanding thought forms is understanding that what you must do is take ownership of your own field. Now, I sent a video to a friend of mine the other day explaining this, and I think it may have really landed with her, where she was going through a process of someone in her life that she was having resistance with, going through someone where she was not happy with someone in her life, and she would text me, and we would go back and forth because she was wanting guidance or assistance on understanding, like, this person's doing this stuff over here, and when they do this stuff, I feel this way. And basically what I had to explain, or what I explained, was that you believe it's this person causing you to feel that way. A lot of times there's a story we have where we blame someone else. We blame someone else. That's a way of not owning our own energetic field. We believe, oh, this person's doing this, therefore I feel this way. When in fact, it's not this person doing this that's causing you to feel this way. It's the meaning you're giving to this person that is causing you to feel that way. It's the thoughts about this person that's causing you to feel this way. Do you see the difference there? It's not this person making you feel negative. This person that's not coming around, not giving you attention, or whatever it is. It's not this person. It's the meaning and the thoughts about this person that's causing that. Huge difference. Because you cannot take ownership over what someone else does. What someone else does is what they do. And it's a neutral thing. The difference is understanding that you take ownership for the thoughts that you think, the people that you surround yourself, because remember this, the people that you surround yourself, let's use a different color for this, the people that you surround yourself also have their own energetic fields that have within it the accumulated thoughts that they think. Now what happens is when you're around these people, your energy, it literally rubs off on you. Now, if you're of a certain vibration or a quality of thought within your field, it doesn't affect you. You might say, well, Okay, everywhere I go, and it's true, everywhere you go, there are thought forms. This is why you go to certain sacred places, you may feel very light because people are in prayer, they're in sacred thought. You may go someplace like a mall where there's a lot of consumerism, and you may feel a different energy. I'm not saying this, it's gonna sound very bougie. I have not been in a Walmart in like 8 years because I don't enjoy going into a Walmart. I do not enjoy how I feel when I walk through a Walmart. There's so much dense energy in there, in my opinion, at least that's my experience. So I don't go through there. And I understand that where I go, if there are thoughts that are resonating with a certain quality, I will pick up on similar thought forms. And there's an analogy of this too, where there's these idea of, this could be a whole separate video. If you want me to make a video on something called pendulums, which are thought forms within the collective consciousness, like this video or comment below and let me know. But the idea is when say you're on a road and you're driving somewhere and someone cuts you off and you get super triggered. Now you could say, oh, I'm just getting super triggered because someone cut me off. Well, once again, remember, it's not the person that cut you off that triggered you. It's your thoughts about them cutting you off and what that represents to you. It might be that they cut you off, therefore they weren't considering me. It scared me. Whatever it is. I've had times people cut me off and I get pissed. I've had times people cut me off and I'm in such a good state that it doesn't affect me at all. It has nothing to do with me. It wasn't personal. There's a big difference there because then I'm not activating the field inside of myself of that energy. So when you're driving down the traffic, you could get triggered. It could have been as well. There's a lot more thought forms that are in traffic in roads that you drive around through that you then resonate with because there are many people that get cut off on the road. Now, the purpose of this video right now is to help you expand your sense of what consciousness may be and what reality may be. And to understand that you also have an energetic field around your body, and when you send energy towards someone else, what happens is, yes, thought forms go towards that person. However, if that person stays in a high vibrational state, it doesn't affect them. They do not resonate with it. That's why a lot of times you'll see people ask people like, what is the best way I protect myself from negative energies? And many times what I hear, whether it's Abraham Hicks or Bashar, some esoteric teachers on this, they say you don't need to create some energetic barrier where you would visualize a shield around yourself and you walk out in a bubble in society and nobody can touch you. That could be a permission slip people use, but even more powerful than that is just raise your own frequency, raise your own heart field, raise and increase the positive energy within your energetic field, and it won't affect you. If you believe you need to protect yourself, you believe there's a whole bunch of negative evil in the world that's coming after you. But instead what you can do is focus on your own field. Focus on your own energy field. It says right here that thus may we create and maintain veritable guardian angels round those we love, and many a mother's prayer for a distant child thus circles around him, though he knows not the method by which her prayer is answered. The idea is that when you send positive energy, things of a higher quality of vibration towards other people, it does benefit them in a positive way. And when that leaves your field, guess what? You leave the field of those positive thoughts you send towards someone else, it's also within your field. Instead of the negative energy going out, which when people say like what you put out is what you get back, what you put out stays within your field, the intention you have. What you put out good comes back to you as well because you're building your energetic field, the energetic thought forms. Now, for myself, I'll share a couple more esoteric things. Here we go. I'm gonna go deeper on this video. There was an old thing I used to watch called Cosmic Disclosure, and this is more esoteric, but it was someone that was talking about their experiences with talking with different, I guess you could say this, I don't even know how deep I want to go with this. Basically, from a different level of consciousness, someone was talking about their experiences where they interacted with these beings, where what they did, these spirit in this spiritual meditation state, or maybe it was actually physically, but basically there were these beings that what they would do is they would send energy to that, these little like pockets of energy to that of people on the planet. And what they were able to see is they would get in these little egg pods, and in these little egg pods, they were able to project their consciousness to people on the planet, and they were able to see people's potential timelines and futures. And what they would do is if they wanted to positively impact someone's timeline, they would pop a bubble of information within their energy field that then would go into their field that would affect their timeline in a positive way. Now, I know this sounds esoteric, and maybe I'll start sharing more and more esoteric stuff on my channel. I just know that if you're listening to this and you haven't heard me talk about esoteric stuff like that, you're gonna be like, well, that sounds freaking weird. But nonetheless, imagine, that reminds me of this whole thought form idea. Higher vibrational, higher dimensional beings that are able to, in a way, impact. Remember, we're in a hologram. We're eternal spiritual beings living temporary human experiences. We may not visibly be able to see certain pockets of energy, but what if people in meditation send pockets of energy towards people, and that within it, it's a positive information that goes within their field that affects the potential timelines, the decisions, the energies they embody along the way. So these are very interesting things to think about. Now, in general, though, the most powerful way for you to affect your own reality is to focus on your own energetic field and to focus on the quality of thoughts you're thinking and stop believing. This is what I've been doing. The other day, something happened where I got triggered by something someone said to me. And then I realized I'm triggered because someone else said something to me. I realized, wait, this is within my own energy field. And if I buy into this trigger and I argue with this person and come at it from this resistant place, I'm only activating more and more of this energy. So instead, I didn't take the bait. I observed my thoughts. I observed how I felt. I let myself feel it, but I didn't continue to feed it. I didn't continue to argue with it. And what ended up happening, ironically enough, is everything smoothed out better than I could even imagine it because I wasn't entertaining the resistant thought form energy within my field. Now, in the whole idea of the pendulums, these collective thought forms, there's pendulums around everything. Being Republican, being Democrat, sports teams, people, YouTube channels, there's pendulums around. And the idea is that when you try to force the pendulum out of your life, you only resist it more and more. You only feed it. This is why the key is observing the thought forms. This is why, by the way, meditation is so damn powerful. You're observing the thoughts that come into your field, come into your mind. And when you're not resisting them, you allow them to come in and to naturally leave easily. And then what you do is meditate. You bring through higher vibrational energy into your body. And that higher vibrational energy you bring into your body increases the quality of the thoughts within your field. And then what happens is as you go out into the world and you interact with other people feel that magnetic energy off of you. People resonate with you and want to be around you. And you repel people that don't vibrate with you at that higher level. There are people that only like drama. They only have so much red, they have a whole bunch of red within their field, and they only like being around other people that have that red within their field. And they can't relate to someone that's just more positive or more in that embodied state. So if there's one thing that will change your life more than anything else, it is the power of consistent meditation. When you meditate and observe your thoughts, you lessen the momentum of negative thoughts. You turn those negative thoughts in your field, you turn them positive when you observe them neutrally, and then you allow higher vibrational energy into your body. Literally imagine that of a connection going into the top of your head, into your heart, into Mother Earth. Let this energy stream flow through you, allow in higher vibrational energy. And as you do, and as you focus on purifying your field, which also sometimes means purifying and detoxing certain people in your life, certain things in your life, certain habits in your life. I notice that when I'm consistently watching Netflix and I'm focused on shows, and there's some of them I really like. I was watching a show called Last Kingdom, which is like a Viking show. But I can tell it does activate certain darker thoughts within my field. I was watching a show called Succession, which is a show about like business and narcissism. Definitely it affects my field in some way. And the key is being aware of how things affect you. Doesn't mean you need to run around all worried that things are going to affect you negatively, but do become aware of what your field has inside of it. When I don't watch Netflix, and when I meditate more often, my field is more pure, I find more synchronicity in my life, and I find myself resonating with higher vibrational people in a deeper way. So if there's one thing you get from this video, understand that reality is a reflection of the thought forms we have around our body and the accumulated thought forms around our body. Doesn't, by the way, mean you need to think more thoughts, think more thoughts, think more thoughts. As you observe your thoughts and let them go, you allow high vibrational energy into your body that may be void of specific thoughts. It's called presence. And the more present you are, the more magnetic you are. And the more magnetic you are, the more you positively impact other people. And the key to this is understanding the power of your thoughts, to understand the power of daily meditation practice, how much that can profoundly change your life when you begin doing it more and more. And understand that as you do that, you are clearing out your energy field and creating a vortex of energy around you, a vortex of positive synchronicity, positive experience. And by the way, if you want a daily practice, a step-by-step practice that will help you to elevate your vibration, create a vortex around you, go to thedailyvortex.com and you will find that of a step-by-step process that will elevate your vibration to a completely new level, along with premium meditations that help you to clean out your energetic field and bring it up to a higher level. The Daily Vortex is that of a container with every meditation I've ever created, and the Shift Experience meditation, with pretty much the gateway experience, this right here. I've created my own called the Shift Experience, which is my own version of this, but instead of to astral project and to do all these things, it's how do you elevate your vibration and create your dream life. So if you want to check that out, go to thedailyvortex.com. And also, if you want that of a meditation that will help you to bring in this high vibrational energy so that you feel safe within your own frame, check out the Frame Technique meditation. I recently made a complete premium meditation that's free on YouTube you can check out. Check it out right here and watch how much it changes your life.